Hi. So my name's Lara. I'm the owner, founder of Story Antics. So today, welcome to the cooking show. Woohoo! We'll see how this goes because first time doing the whole thing all the way through, and new camera holder thingy, which may fall off the bench. So watch this space. Today, I'm going to be making cheesy quinoa crackers, except I'm not Tom. Lara makes cheesy quinoa crackers. So that's today's plan. So if you're watching this and you want to make them, best thing to do is go to our website, find the cheesy quinoa crackers book, which is on the homepage. So storyantics.com. Find the book on the homepage, click on that, and then create your book, and you'll be able to read it. When you preview, you can read the whole story online. You can do it yourself at home. So that's if you don't have the book or you can't wait for the book to arrive, which takes about 2 weeks. So you can cook them just by following along on the computer. So first of all is all the ingredients. So I've got mine already. I feel like I'm on Blue Peter for anyone that's a little bit older, because otherwise you've got to watch me like chopping and stuff. But so I've got my sesame seeds. Yeah, yes, in an old applesauce jar. I've got my cheddar cheese. I've actually already grated that. I've got my butter, which looks like the cheese as well there. Now, because we're in COVID-19, flour is a hard one. So we've gone with plain flour. It says spelt in the recipe, but I couldn't find it for love nor money. Milk and quinoa flakes, very importantly. If you don't have quinoa at home or you can't find any in the shops, that was another challenge. You can try with oats. And finally, baking powder. So, Tom is super excited and Lara is very excited today. She's going to try her new recipe storybook. Going to make cheesy quinoa crackers. First of all, time to start cooking. Lara turns on the oven to 180 degrees. Check. Next, with the help of Mum, well, I am the helper and the chef, so I line my baking tray with baking paper. Now, you don't actually need to do this beforehand. We've got it first in the recipe book, but to be honest, I normally do it right at the end. But we're going to do it now because we're following the recipe. So it says in the book to use 23 square centimetre baking tray, but I've only got this one, so this is what I'm using. Now here's my baking paper. So put that on there. So that's done for now. I'll fix it up a bit at the end. I should let you know that I'm not the most precise of bakers. Amy from Healthy Little Foodies, who wrote this recipe, is the most precise of bakers, so it's best if we follow what she says. So if you are doing this at home along with me, then read the storybook. Don't necessarily rely on what I say because mine can be a little dodgy. It turns out fine in the end. Anyway, first of all, time to combine the ingredients. Lara puts the quinoa flakes. Put my book there. Quinoa flakes. So 1 cup of quinoa flakes. I was going to tell jokes in between each section related to the ingredients that I was putting in, but I got laughed at by my friends, so I'm not doing that. They thought it was a dumb idea. Quinoa flakes, check. Sesame seeds. So I am using a tablespoon of sesame seeds. Now I quite like sesame seeds, so I'm putting a little bit over. And there are some black ones in there. I don't think that matters. It might look like burnt bits when it comes out. That'll be fine. So, sesame seeds. And now I just pulse them together until they look like really tiny bits. This takes very long. So then you grate the cheese. However, one I prepared earlier. But when you are grating with a grater, really be careful with your fingers. A number of times there's been a bit of finger in there. It's not pleasant. Not for eating or for your finger. So once we've done that, then we add everything else to the mixture apart from the milk. So the butter, and the grated cheese, check. Flour, this is a tablespoon of flour. Oh, my thingy doesn't fit in the thing. Hang on a second. So I'll spoon this in. This is not terribly efficient. Whoops. And the chances of spillage are high. So if you're doing this at home and you're like little, like, I don't know, to be honest, my age or younger, then, oh, I've already spilt it. Just be careful not to spill it too much. But you are going to have to flour the bench later, so it doesn't really matter. Right, pop the flour in. Baking powder, I think that was half a teaspoon. Let's get that right, otherwise our crackers will be disastrous. Half a teaspoon. I love these little spoony things, because if you use the actual spoons in the drawer, you never get it the same. And I had a bit of a disaster the other week when I made chocolate cake. I put way too much baking powder in. Like, the chocolate cake rose up really nicely, but it tasted disgusting. So that is one lesson I have learned. It's important to be accurate because of that. Right, just dust off the book. Now, I pulse the mixture in the food processor until it looks crumbly. So, and then we add the milk. This is, as you can see, this is like super quick. There's still some bits of cheese though there, so just get that going a bit more. Oh, it's definitely looking crumbly now. I don't know if you can see. Can you see? Crumbly? Yep. Okay. So, next thing it says, while the food processor is going, Mum pours the milk in as Tom watches, or Lara, the crumbly mixture transform into a dough. Now, we need 3 tablespoons of milk. So, I'll put this in again, and I've got this little sneaky pour it in the top hole. So I can pour my milk in while it's going around. 3 tablespoons. I'll use the proper measuring ones, don't worry, people. 1, 2, 3. And I can count. Woo! Right. That's now transforming into a dough. You can see it's getting more lumpy. Oh, that's good. That's all good. It was getting more lumpy. So that is awesome, because now we are ready to put it out onto our floured bench. Obviously, I wiped the bench before we started. So once you have done, if you haven't, then quick run off and do that and press pause. And also I washed my hands before I started. So if you haven't done that at this point, run off and do that. Right, no one wants bits of dirt in their crackers. That's what I say. Okay. You know, one of the worst parts of cooking is the cleaning. I don't know if anyone else feels that, but so it's best, I find, best to use as few things as possible so that you have to clean as little as possible. And this has actually come out quite wet. Last time I made it, it wasn't quite as wet, but that doesn't really mean anything. But that's why I've got the flour on the bench as well. So there we go. So I take it, Lara takes the dough out of the food presser and places it on the flour bench. Next, I'm going to need a bit more flour. I have to knead the dough until my arms get tired and the dough looks smooth. So this is a great workout if anyone is looking for a workout. The old dough kneading workout. I've lost kilos on it. Kilos? No, not really. Does improve your arm muscles though. Don't wear it with your Fitbit though if you've got a Fitbit, because it will count every push down as a step. unless you want to cheat your Fitbit. So while you're doing this, you can see already it's a lot smoother. Can you see that? It's a lot smoother than it was when I got it out of the thing. And it's also staying together a lot better than it was. But you can also see the black sesames are in here, black sesame seeds. I just saw one. Oh, there's a couple there. You see there's one. So I think this is good. The dough looks smooth. I think that dough is looking pretty smooth. Okay, so next page. The nice thing about these books as well, and it's part of the reason I got them printed like I did, is that you can wipe them clean because they're quite, actually the paper's very thick, and if you just use a really not very damp cloth, then you easily wipe it clean. Now, we've got to roll out the dough. Now, Amy recommends that you put it between 2 pieces of baking paper. I personally don't do that. You can do it. The reason you would do that is because it's less mess, really. But I don't really like to use stuff like baking paper too much unless I have to. In fact, I need to get a silicone baking tray thingy, because if I just feel it's bad for the environment. And you might think that's a bit strange coming from a person that's, you know, publishing this book. But Amy from Healthy Little Foodies is the best and knows what she's doing. So it is best to follow that. But if you don't want to do it between the baking paper, it's not a big deal. So you can do like I've done. There you see I've got it pretty flat. Now, then you need to get your cookie cutters. Now, I've just remembered I've left those in the drawer. So I'm going to be back in a minute. Watch this space. I'm back. So my cookie cutters, I've got these Christmas ones. It's a 4-piece Christmas set. So it's not quite the same as in the story, but there are stars, and that's what I'll be making today. But you can, to be honest, you can make anything. Oh, actually I do have the star here. It's right here from the other day. I do have the star. But you can use any shapes you've got, like cats, dogs, rabbits, guinea pigs, anything. Anything that you like in terms of shapes. Or if you don't have a cookie cutter, that's not a problem either. You can use a cup. I'll show you. So like, you could use this cup here to do it if you wanted to. And you can just go like this. Ta-da! Whoops. And then, so then you just get circles. So you don't even need the cookie cutter, but if you do have it, it's kind of nice. So I'm going to put my tray here at the front. And got our bakery tape on it already. I'll put that round when I've done. And then we'll cut out the stars. So when I did this the other day, I got about, probably about 12 to 15 out of it. It does depend on how thick you cut the, cut your stars or your whatever shapes, and also how big your shapes are. Now they do puff up a bit. They don't go very, they don't move and expand this way, but they do puff up this way. So you can put them quite close together on the baking tray, which is good. So last time when I made them last week, I managed to fit them all on one tray, despite the fact there was more than I anticipated. It's also quite cool. It's like a bit like doing a jigsaw when you're doing cutting out your things, because you have to kind of work out which bits, oh dear, there's a bit of a, oh no. Work out which bits you can kind of make your star from. Now you can see I've got lots of bits. So I'm going to roll these together again. And we are going to make another flat piece. A bit more flour. So that, this is why I think that it's quite easy to do these, because if you go wrong, you just squish it all back into a ball and roll it out again. It doesn't really matter. Or if you suddenly realise that your star has only got 3 points instead of 5, it doesn't really matter. You can just squish it back. So at this stage, mistakes is very easy to correct them, unless of course you've forgotten to put something in. That's happened to me before as well. In which case, that's not the best move. and then you really are in a bit of trouble, and then you have to decide what you do from there. But you haven't forgotten anything, I'm sure. So I'm just going to squish these together a bit more. And can you see? Squish these up. I think last time, yeah, that circle one's kind of stuffing up my system. Nope, there we go. Got it. And you don't even have to use a cookie cutter if you don't want to. Like last time I had stuff left over, so I just made some slugs. Or you can call them worms. Just be careful if you are making anything that's not using the cookie cutter and not rolled out, is that make sure they're about the same thickness as the one, because otherwise they'll take longer to cook, and potentially they might not be cooked when the others are cooked, and then you could end up with some burnt ones. That's not very nice. Right, so I've only got a little bit left, look now. Ta-da! So I should still get another couple out of these. This is the problem. And this is this is the stage I got to last week, and I was like, it's not worth starting a new tray, but at the same time, are they all going to fit on? Like here, this piece now, I've only got 1 star out of it, which is fine, but now it's looking a little cramped on the, okay. So this is quite fun as well, because you've got to fit all the shapes together to try and make it, it's easier if you've got square things, obviously. Right, my stars. I've got a little space in the corner there, so I'm just going to squish these together into a square thing. Like when I made these last time, the other thing about this is that these are great for the taste testing, because then you're not eating a good one if you want people to see them. So you eat the dodgy ones as to check they taste okay. So that's one dodgy. Put that in that corner. And I'll make another dodgy a really tiny dodgy for the other corner. And these are really delicious. Last time I made them, I think I had, about 4 after I made them. Cray. Right, let's pop that in that corner. Oh, is that going to fit? No, I'll have to put it in the middle there. Okay, and then I've got one more space for one more. So the only problem is when you're doing a Facebook Live is how can you fast forward time when stuff's in the oven? That's a little bit of a problem. So I think we might have to like stop the live, because you don't want to listen to me wittering on for 20 minutes. Well, and actually it's 12 minutes these take, I think. Yes. 12 minutes, but you still don't want to listen to me wittering on for 12 minutes, I'm sure. So I'll stop the live when they go in the oven, and then we'll come back to get them out. So you can see that there's all my shapes all ready. So then it says Mum places the crackers in the oven. That would be right, those are all good to go. So I will come back to you in 12 to 15 minutes, depending on how long they take. You've got to wait until they're golden brown in colour. And if they are golden brown, they just do taste absolutely delicious, because they're still quite soft in the middle. But if you're too light, then they will be a bit undercooked in the middle. So I will see you in about 12 to 15 minutes.